Welcome to Unit 5, Microsoft Excel. To open up Excel document, you're going to go to your Start button in the bottom left corner, click on it, and then look for Excel, which will have a green X or a green icon with a white X. Once you open it up, it will look like this, and you want to open up a blank workbook. Once you have Excel open, you're going to see an Excel screen. Now, Excel is a spreadsheet rather than a word processor. A spreadsheet will always have grid lines going up and down and right and left. So if you notice, there's a bunch of grid lines. Excel is a workbook that contains many pages, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. There are a lot of similarities between the Microsoft Word and Excel screens. If you go to the top, you're going to see a green line or box. This is the title bar, and you're going to see Book 1. That is the default name for all Excel workbooks when you first open them. You have your quick access toolbar, just like as in Word, and you have your availability of ribbons on what you want shown and not shown. You have your menu tabs that run across the page, and inside each of these menu tabs, you have your toolbar sections, and then you also have your ribbons. Here we have the clipboard ribbon with a dialog box, a font ribbon with a dialog box, an alignment ribbon with a dialog box. And so these are our ribbons. Under each of these ribbons, we have specific toolbars. Just like in Word, if you click on a dialog box, it will open up a box that will provide you with a lot of different options. What else is similar in Microsoft Excel is you have your vertical scroll bar and you have your horizontal scroll bar at the bottom. You have your status bar that runs across the page, and it contains your zoom. And you have your taskbar, which will show all of your open documents, or it will house different icons that you select and put on your taskbar. So now let's look at what is different about Excel. When I click in these little grid boxes, how do I know where I'm at? By clicking at a grid and going up to my name box right here, I can see I'm in D5. If I click here, I can see I'm in A9. If I go all the way over here, I can see quickly that I'm in R14. That is the name box. The name box is the location where you are at in the spreadsheet. To enter data, you just hit enter and you can add data. Oops, didn't want to do that. I am going to add a series of numbers here because eventually I'm going to show you how rows and columns work. So I'm going to select this just like in Word. You can select Control C and copy. I'm going to put enough data in here so we can eventually show some things. I'm going to hit Escape to get out of that. All right, now in Excel, we have grids that go across, what we call horizontally. They run east to west. If I look here, I'm going to see that each grid runs across the page and it is identified by a row number. So the rows go horizontally across the page, east to west. Now I also have columns. Notice that my columns go down the page. And how do I get the whole column to be selected? If I put it on the letter, I'm going to get a little black arrow. That will select my entire column. So these are my columns. They go down the page. And here are my rows. They go across. So we got horizontal rows, columns go vertical or up and down. So here I will always be able to see in my name box where I am at. If I select a whole bunch, if I do this, you notice it's showing me what I have selected. And right now, and it only recognizes A5. Right now, we also have a formula bar. So what does the formula bar do? It shows us what our formulas are or our references. So if I put my cursor in E5 and I want a total, I can do it the long way. I can do equal, then click on A5 and do a plus sign, B5 a plus sign, C5 a plus sign, D5 a plus sign. Actually, I'm just going to there. So I have A, B, C, D, and then I'm going to hit enter. And you notice I now have a formula. And if I go up here, there is my formula recognized in my formula bar. So here is my formula bar. Name box, formula bar. Now, there's another way that I can do addition much quicker than when I just did when I had to type everything out. If I put my cursor in E6 and I go over here to where it says auto sum and I click on the drop down and click sum, I can then go here and I can select my cells. Notice I have A6 through D6. That's the correct cell references. And then I hit enter. Notice that it automatically quickly calculated that for me. And if I look in the formula bar, I'm going to say it says equal sum. In parentheses, it says add A6, and the colon here says through D6. I can go down here to A11. Notice A11. I can click on my auto sum. You notice that it highlights it. I check my cell references, which is A5 through A10. So that colon means it's going to add all of these together. And I hit enter. If I go up to check my formula bar, there it is. And let's say I'm going to add a 4 here. Let's say, oops, we did that. I did that wrong. Let's go there. Add a 4 here. I click here. I know. Notice I get a little question mark. This formula in this cell refers to a range that has additional numbers adjacent to it. So I can come up here and click inside the formula bar and say, hey, let's change 5 to 4. So I can change that. And you notice now that it changed and included in that cell reference A4. I hit enter and notice it recalculated. So here is your formula bar name box. All right. So I'm going to hit escape. And then the next thing we're going to look at is, remember earlier I said Excel is a spreadsheet that is called a workbook. Down here in our workbook, we have one page. It's called a sheet. If I want more sheets inside my workbook, I click on the plus sign. And I can add a lot of sheets if I want. So notice that just by hitting that plus sign, I can add sheets. If I right click, I can also delete sheets. So let's say I don't want this many sheets, I can delete them. Now I also can come down to sheet 1 and I can rename that sheet. Let's call it marketing. And I can go to sheet 2, right click, and I can rename that as well. I'll call this accounting. I can also go to marketing, right click, and go to tab color, and I can select a color from my tab. I can also do the same for all of them. So when I click on them or when I click off them, you can see the color more clearly. Otherwise, when you're actually selected that, it's just going to highlight it in the background. So we have talked about our title bar, our menu bars, our toolbars, our ribbons, our new name box, our formula box. We've looked at our columns that run down the page. We've looked at rows that run across the page. And we have talked about our status bar, our task bar. We have also taught about our sheet tabs, which make up our book. I can also expand my rows by just dragging, and I do that by putting my cursor between 3 and 4, and then I get that 4-corner cross and I can drag down. You notice it's changing my height. I can also go on the boundary line between A and B, and I can change my width. There we go. You have learned the parts of the screen. So at this point in time, review quickly, and then you are to go to Kia and take your word screen quiz. Have fun and good luck.